The leader of China, Xi Jinping, is set to be given a historic third term in power this weekend, and the effort to boost his image and popularity is in full swing across the country.
Powerful leaders, presidents and prime ministers, they spend the best part of their life working tirelessly towards a goal of the top job, with the aim of making a difference. While the majority fail, maybe there is something that we can learn from their also public failures. And for those lucky few who reach the pinnacle of a successful leader, they garner their accolades and are forever remembered as a force to be reckoned with. Nowadays, most of us have the choice when it comes to leadership, but when it is thrust upon us, whether it's in the home, a promotion at work, or in the pursuit of passion, it could be a moment of mixed emotions, exhilaration, trepidation, or perhaps even anxiety. Whatever your feelings, it brings with it a new and often significant challenges for even a person that may come across well put together. But what does it take to get there? What is it about great leaders that allows them to overcome hardship, to wield the power of influence, and face challenging roads ahead? No matter what you do or where you go, time changes, cultures differ from place to place, but the principles of leadership remain a constant, whether at war or peace. And I think great leaders throughout history share common characteristics and attributes that does not make them only unique, but it's also helped them to lead great movements. These individuals may not have been born leaders, but they have followed the inspiring example of those that followed before them. Whether we love or hate them, their contributions in whatever capacity cannot be overlooked. I want to help you foster the habit of leadership in your own life to see what we can pull and that could be more applicable in our day-to-day life. For some of us, taking control of a situation can sound intimidating and scary. The role of getting stuff done can be really difficult. And for a leader, nothing is more exciting than getting results and the ability to get stuff done like they said they would. And it's hard not to envy someone that can naturally lead. Maybe you want to step up your game at work, be more assertive with your friends, or you just want to be at the forefront of action. There are some people who switch up their personalities depending on who they're around. And I actually had an old friend like this. Face to face, he was chilled out. He was totally relatable, nice to be around. But in a group setting, he would put on this facade, a false sense of bravado, which at times people would see straight through, and I would think, who is this person? And people could almost smell the inauthenticity in him. And to top it all off, they would sometimes catch him out on the lie. And it got to the point where I couldn't relate. I couldn't bear it anymore. As harsh as it sounds, I had to disassociate myself with him. I had to change our dynamic. And all leaders, especially leaders of radical change, need to accept they will be forced to face the uncomfortable truths. And it's a shame how sometimes we rationalize behaviors that doesn't sit quite right with us. We shouldn't ignore that feeling. When people trust your word, it's like the glue that solidifies the bond with one another. It can take years to build trust, whether it's in a leadership role, relationship, or friends. And it can take literally just moments to destroy it. And it's maybe the only currency that you have when all is lost and you have nothing to bargain with but your trust and your word. And while that might sound dramatic, it's probably one of the most valuable assets that someone could possess. It's priceless. And when a person is in a position of leadership, we trust that they will follow through with what they say. An upholder of their word is incredibly attractive. Before 2020, sometimes I would sit in a coffee shop before work and I would sit down and write my plan of what I'm going to do for the day. And I would look up sometimes from time to time and I would see people rushing, frantically getting to work. And I'd think back to my own life and I would envision a time where maybe I would be working in a job that I would find at least 60% enjoyable. And that was like my inner rebel talking. And I think everyone has this within them. A rebel wants you to do something a little different, something a bit outside the box. For leaders, that voice is a little louder. There's no need for checklists, routines, or rules. They act upon what they truly believe in, whether it's getting out of the rat race or something that is bigger than themselves. The inner belief of getting to a goal is so strong for a rebel, and we've seen certain entrepreneurs that seem to be breaking all the rules. Let's take Elon Musk for example. For him, it's much more bigger than just taking over a company, but it sure does look like he is creating a sense of excitement with what he is doing. I remember talking to a friend and she was striving to get a position with a well-known film production company. Her why was so much bigger than just a paycheck. She wanted to produce work that served a purpose. And along the road to reach this position, there were offers from other companies that paid more and offered fantastic benefits, but they didn't quite align with what she wanted, which at the time I couldn't really understand. And I would ponder over it and think, wow, she's really sticking to her guns. And it was a type of freedom that I admired. It was an abundance mindset that hopefully one day I wished to replicate. And what this rebel-like thinking showed me is that you are more than what you think you are. And I was talking to my brother the other day about the societal pressures of going to uni. And if you don't go, especially in the UK, it's almost frowned upon. And I said to him, if there's something well and truly you want to do, now is the time to test and fail. Make mistakes and learn from them. And I said to him, you don't want to get to a point years down the line where you're trapped in a cage, changed down to your expectations. And thinking about it now, if I could go back to my early 20s, I would listen more to the rebel in me. I'd probably do things a little bit more differently. I'd probably approach things with a little bit less fear. Actually, I would try to approach things being fearless. I would try to break away from the routine of comfort, the comfort zone that I was so easily stuck in, and I would seek out opinions with differences, as we so often just seek out opinion that just confirms our fears. We've all met someone who just knows where they want to go and how to get there. It's like their internal GPS lets them know they're on the correct path, letting them know to make a correct turn, always ending up where they intended. And when we see them, they seem calm and collected, and we ourselves feel safe and secure around them. We see them making light work of something that could be complicated, like a vision that may seem intangible at first. They make it look simple, and they make the simple look understandable. So much so that it motivates and inspires others around them. A vision establishes the gold standard. Whenever I've had a slump in my motivation or direction, it's when I've not reminded myself of my vision, and I've lost sight of what the goal is and what I want for my future. A proficient leader has an idea of where they want to be next, and already has their next moves planned, at least for the next few years. A vision focuses the why, and the deep desires which inherently gives you purpose, the kind that provides you with enough momentum to keep you going when energy is low, or when external forces seem to be against you, which undoubtedly you're going to feel like it's going to happen to you at some point. A vision is something you can hang hold of when morale is low. It's so important that when followers buy into a vision that did not come into reality or deviated drastically, it could cost them their reputation. And we all know what leaders say and do may be two different things, but on an individual level, your reputation and your vision will be something people will be either attracted to or repelled by. We've all heard the saying, actions speak louder than words. Just like walking into a job interview, it's nice to hear what you can do, but what they really want to know is what you've done. What real life situations have you been in? It's far more valuable, and it's a great predictor of who you say you are and who you are going to be for the future. Decide to decide. A great leader knows the implications of not making a decision. And it sounds obvious, everybody makes decisions every day. But the question is, are you focusing on the right ones? Are you getting the right balance between the important and the urgent? Between thinking and doing? Are you seen to be decisive by those around you? A smart, execution-focused leader fears a lack of decision making more than they do than the fear of getting those decisions wrong. Firstly, any culture that promotes fear of error over fear of action will ultimately become slow, stodgy and stagnant. To steal the phrase, feel the fear and do it anyway. And in truth, once you begin, it will rapidly start to feel less scary. Nothing breeds confidence like progress. And conversely, nothing destroys it like the passivity of slow indecisiveness. Ultimately, the only question should be, did it take it closer to my goal? While we may not hold the position of power to be the boss, we can still cultivate the ability to influence the impact of our life. We lead in our homes, the workplace, our friends and family. But in reality, leadership requires a level of sacrifice. the now for the later, exercising timely patience for the greater good. Most people are willing to acknowledge some level of sacrifice at the beginning, early in their journey, but problems arises when you think you no longer need to continue with the initial effort. When we tend to think we have earned the right to stop, when this is an ongoing process. We need to continually make deposits of effort. A leader endures to be the best. And I like this word for two reasons. First, I love its ambition. It's incredibly hard to do. But if you're a leader, surely it's your job, right? Secondly, it forces you to be revolutionary rather than evolutionary. Aiming to be better leads you to incremental changes. So that being said, leadership is only going to play a part in your life. And although it can be a route to fulfillment, it cannot be all-consuming, or it will consume you. And we've all seen or met someone who needs to be in control. And that manifests itself in all areas of their life. To lead, you must be able to maintain all parts of yourself in parallel with all others. And maybe in the hope to find balance, go learn something you're bad at. Go be humbled by people's whose achievements dwarf your own. Go scream at a football game, then go play. Learn a language. Right now I have a friend who's climbing all 3 peaks in the UK. Read, walk, cook, create. The leader in you can only survive if you're giving the other yous a chance as well.